I welcome you all back to my YouTube channel, to my TikTok account, my Facebook account. So we've got this question 22 of 2022 paper 1 question. We want to answer the first question here. The first question here is telling us to find dy dx. So how do you find dy dx of that? So I'm going to write it here so that we all understand. So it is y is equal to 2x squared minus 4x plus 3. That is how the question is. And you are told to find dy dx. So you know that finding dy dx, there is a specific formula that we get to use, which is nax to the power n minus 1. The n here, which you are able to see, that is the power. The a, which is here, this is the coefficient, then x is the variable. So what it means that you'll be multiplying the power times the coefficient, then the variable maintain, then the power you remove 1. So you continue and say dy dx is equal to, what is 2 times 2? That is 4, then x, then 2 minus 1. Here the coefficient is 4, then the power is 1 there. 1 times 4, so minus 4, then x, 1 minus 1. Then under calculus, when you are told to differentiate, we don't differentiate a constant number, so it's equal to 0 because we don't differentiate constant numbers. So what you need to do after you do this, then you just say dy dx is equal to, this is 4x minus, we are going to have something that will be 4x to the power 0. You know that any number to the power 0 is equal to 1. So this is the same as 4 times 1, which is just equal to 4. So I'll say minus what? Minus 4. This is my answer, which is here. This is how I need to answer that. These are procedures that you need to do and get. So we've answered that first question. We move to this other question, which is here. So let me lab this part. Which is here. Hope you've seen how I've answered that. The question is saying, the sketch shows the graph of y is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 8. This is how the question is. Find the coordinates of A and B. How can you find the coordinates of A and B? How? In which way can we find the coordinates of A and B? This is what you need to do. So you get the coordinate of A. The coordinate of A is like this. So the coordinate of A, this is how the coordinate of A is. The coordinate of A, you know that A is in the what? X-axis. So you don't know the x-axis, but you know the value of y in the x-axis. In the x-axis, y is equal to 0. So this is the coordinate. Even B, I write it here, is x, which I don't know, comma 0. I know that y is 0. So in the x-axis, y is 0. This is to tell you that, have you seen y there is 0? Even y there is 0. So what you need to do is that you get the equation which is given, then where there is y, you put 0, then solve what will remain. So you've got the equation which will be x squared minus 2x minus 8, which will be equal to what? Will be equal to the 0y, which is there, a 0 like that. So if you look at this, this is now a quadratic equation. We formed a quadratic equation. Whenever you see a quadratic equation in paper 1 mathematics, you don't need to use any other formula but factorization. So factorization is a simple method that can be used to solve quadratic equations, simple quadratic equations that has got factors. You find the product. How do you find the product? You multiply the value of A times C. You know that the format of a quadratic equation is like this: ax squared plus bx plus c, which is equal to 0. This is the format of a quadratic equation, where you know that this one having a square is called a. The number there, if it is 4, it can be anything. So that's the number which is there. It can be a 6, it can be a 4. So in this case, we are having 1. So how do you find the product? You say a times c. C is a constant there. So 1 times -8, that is -8. You go to sum. How do you find the sum? The sum is just the b. Have you seen where the b is? Just having x. Just having x, that is -2. Like that. So this is what you need to do. These are procedures that you need to get and understand. I want you to understand this, and I want you to get the full understanding on this. So what we need to do, we find the factors. How do we get to find the factors? We find the factors. So we say factors. You find two numbers that you can multiply to get what? -8. And if you add those two numbers, you get -2. So what are those numbers? It is just what? We've got -4 and 2. If you multiply these, you are going to get -8. If you add -4 plus 2, you get -2. So you get these, as long as the coefficient there is 1, you just say x minus 4. This is the easiest way of answering that. You say x plus 2, that's a positive 2, which is equal to what? Equal to 0. This is what you need to do. After you do this, you get this part, x minus 4 equates to 0, or you say x plus 2, you equate to what? You equate to 0. So what is your answer? X is equal to 4 there, or x is equal to -2. Have you seen these two answers that we've solved? You are even able to tell now that where these values are. We've seen this side, this is where we've got negative. So negatives are this side. This is where we get to find negatives. Then positives is this side. So which means that on A there, this is have you seen the x there? Which means it is a -2. So the coordinate for A is what? -2, 0. Then for B is this 4. So for B, the coordinate, what's the coordinate? 4, 0. So these are the coordinates. So we've answered this question. We know that our A is equal to what? -2, 0. You write those. Then B, we know B. What is the B? 4, 0. We answered the first question. You also write your answer here for the first one that we answered. Even this one that we are going to answer, all the answers should be put here. This is where you need to put all the answers. So what I need to do now, I move to this question that is saying the maximum point, the minimum point on the graph. So let me lab this. Hope you've seen how I was answering. So this is the question. So I won't lab this. So they are telling us to find, what are they telling us? They're telling us to find the minimum point on the graph. First thing, you find the turning point. So we need to find the turning point. How do you find the turning point? You say turning point, first coordinate is -b over 2a. That is the value for x. This is the formula that we need to use. You know that a is 1, b there -2, c -8. So this is equal to b is -2. So that is -2. Since there is a negative and a negative here, this one becomes a positive, over 2 times a, which is 1, which is equal to 2 divided by 2 is 1. So x is what? X is 1. Then how do you get to find y? We were given the equation y is equal to x squared. So we were given x squared minus 2x minus 2x, that is -8. So y is equal to, where there is x, you put 1. Have you seen this one on the phone? So that is 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 8. This is y is equal to 1 minus 2 minus 8, which is equal to, this is negative 1 minus 8. Then final answer is negative 9. That is our answer. Have you seen? So this is our turning point. Saying I'm going to write it here. Turning point. Our turning point is equal to what? X is 1, comma, y is negative 9. So I put negative 9 there. Then I do this. So this is the turning point, 1 comma negative 9. Now the question is the minimum point on the graph. So the way we get to find the minimum point on the graph is this. On the turning point, just get the value of y. So that value of y can be maximum or minimum. According to this graph is minimum. So just say minimum value of y is equal to negative 9. This is the answer. So I've taught you how to find the turning point and how you can find the maximum or minimum. I've told you just get this one. It can be minimum or maximum. It depends on how the graph is. But these are procedures that you need to get. Hope you've learned something. Make sure you like and follow. Thank you.